Good day, grade 11 students. Welcome back to our general mathematics class. I'm so glad to have you here as we continue our exciting journey through lesson 1.1. So this time, we are dividing this lesson on the third part already. So part 3 will talk about, again, understanding and computing salary, wage, and commission. So for our learning competency, we will use the same learning competency. And for our specific learning objectives for today, by the end of this session, you should be able to compute the monthly salary based on daily wage and number of workdays, including commissions, allowances, overtime pay in our calculations. So that's our second one. And lastly, we will analyze scenarios using percentage operations for savings and budget allocation. So let's see how this applies in real life settings. Are you now ready? So let's warm up and solve these problems on activity number 6, GenMath Skills Check-in. So here are the problems that you are going to solve on your GenMath notebook. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to try to figure out how to answer the following problems. Your timer starts now. These are very simple problems. You simply write the correct answer on your GenMath notebook. Are you done with number 1? You should be answering number 2 already. Okay, great. Let us now solve the following. So for item number 1, the correct answer is C. That's 4,725. So to get the earnings from sewing, we multiply 175 by 25. Then we get 4,375. And we add the 350 weekly allowance for transportation. So that's 4,725. I hope you got the same answer. Let's move now to item number 2. So what method did you use? Very good. So we should divide by 52 because there are 52 weeks in an annual salary. So we divide the annual salary with 470,000 and the answer is 9,038 pesos and 46 centavos. Did you get a perfect score? Excellent. Now let's move on computing salaries. So we'll go through several examples to help you practice these skills. But this time we'll go beyond by just computing. So let us explore how these scenarios reflect the reality of how Filipino workers work and their rights under the labor code. So remember that as of April 2025, it is mandated in the law that the daily wage specifically in Central Luzon is 550 pesos for agricultural establishment. And there are cases that it is mandated that 520 pesos for the agricultural establishments and 540 pesos for retail and service establishments. So it's very common that the daily wage in Central Luzon is usually 500. So the next problem now will be related to our example. So we have Rosemary as our cashier. So this scenario mirrors the lives of many Filipino minimum wage earners. So as what I've told you, in Central Luzon, 500 is a commonly daily rate for non-agricultural workers. However, many like Rosemary find this just enough or sometimes lacking for basic needs. So let's try to solve this problem. So she worked for 6 days in a week, and in 1 month, she worked 24 days. So to solve this problem, so the daily wage is 500 pesos, and Rosemary worked 24 days. So we simply multiply it, and the monthly wage is now 12,000 pesos. So this is the answer. So remember that this type of problem highlights the importance of budgeting and advocating for fair wage adjustment. So this is mandated by the law, no, and is guided by the Labor Code of the Philippines. Let's proceed now to the second problem. So let's have example number 2. So in here, Chito is a utility worker and he's paid 570 pesos per day. And he worked 22 regular hours and he had 5 hours of overtime. So if the regular working hours is 8 and the overtime pay rate is an additional 25% for the hourly rate, then what will be Chito's total wage for the month? So this problem illustrates how overtime work, which is paid at a premium at least 125% as per Article 87 of the Labor Code. So this supports workers during financial gaps. So let's try to solve this overtime pay problem. For the solution, first, we multiply 570 by the 22 days that he worked. So that's 12,540. For the regular hourly rate, we divide it by the regular working hours, which is 8 hours. So the daily wage divided by 8. So that is 71 pesos and 25 centavos. For the overtime rate, we multiply, our multiplier is 1.25. So we multiply it by 71.25. And what's the answer? It's 89.06. But take note, the precise answer is 89 pesos 0.0625. So we continuously put it here, then we multiply it by 5 so that we get this answer. Okay? But when we put the overtime rate, of course, we disregard these insignificant values. But when you compute for the overtime pay, the other decimals must be included so that the overtime pay will be exact. So that's 445 pesos and 31 centavos. Actually, there are also other decimals here, but what is just reflected here as the final answer is rounded off into 2 decimal places. So when we compute for overtime pay, it should be a continuous process in your calculator. Okay? So for the total monthly wage, that is 12,540 plus our overtime pay. So that will give us a total wage for the month, which is 12,985 and 31 centavos. Remember that these problems also reflects the reality that many employees rely on extended hours to meet their needs, often sacrificing rest and family time. So there are really a lot of Filipino workers who always work overtime because they badly need it. Just try to imagine having a monthly wage of 12,900 pesos, almost 13,000. Let's proceed now to the third example. So commission-based jobs are common in sales and marketing, just like with our problem. So under the labor code, commissions are considered part of the wage when determining benefits. So sometimes it's considered a benefits, but sometimes it's just pure, the job is just pure commission. So in this example, so Imelda has a daily wage of 620 pesos. and a transportation allowance of 1,000. But every time, no, that she has sales on appliances, maybe, so it will be added all together. So the total sales will be computed, and those total sales will she'll have a commission of 2%. So how do we compute for the monthly earning of Imelda? For the solution, so the regular wage is 26 days times the daily wage, which is 620 pesos. So we will get 16,120. For the commission, so we get 2% of it. So our multiplier is 0.02. So that's 1,600. For the allowance, we have 1,000. So we add everything, the wage, the commission, plus the allowance. So that will be a total of 18,700, which is the total monthly earnings of Imelda. So this particular problem encourages us, no, to understand that earnings can vary, especially if it's a performance-based role, just like a commission, requiring discipline in saving during good months. So there will be bad months and there will be good months for Imelda here, because not every time is there will be a large sales. So it will be a good month for Imelda if there is high sales. But what if there is no sales for the month? So this is the negative side of performance-based salary or wage. Any question? Let's now have illustrative example number 4. So Charlie here is a farm worker. So Charlie is a perfect example of seasonal workers, no? Because they are just paid by output and it's not about time. So this form of compensation is legal, but this is considered unstable. So many agricultural workers in the Philippines face income insecurity during off-season. So maybe Charlie is also looking for other um, agricultural products, maybe for the next month. If there are no mangoes anymore to be harvested, then he'll be helping in harvesting rice and so on. So this is a very different type of job because this is just seasonal. So if it's off season, then there's no security in the job. But still, this is legal in the Philippines. Okay? So let's analyze the problem. So we have 100 pesos per kaing. So that's also what we call a basket. In the Filipino context, that's a kain. So Charlie worked for total of 20 days in the month, and he usually finishes 12 kaings per day or harvest 12 kaings. And look at this one. Part of the problem is that 70% will be the spending, while of course, using your common sense, 30% will be the savings of Charlie. So maybe Charlie needs to save because he don't know when to get the next season of harvesting. So let's try to figure out this one. So for the solution, we simply multiply 100 by 12 kaings. So that's a daily wage of 1,200. But since Charlie worked for 20 days, that's a total of 24,000. So these are just simple multiplication. For the savings, we multiply, so the 30% will be interpreted as 0.3 in decimals. So that's multiplied by the monthly income. So the total savings of Charlie is 7,200. Okay, so there are two questions that we need to address. First is the monthly income, which is 24,000, and the savings, which is 7,200. So his decision to save 30% shows financial wisdom. So Charlie, I mean, is something that we should all strive for, because even if his work is seasonal, he still try to save money. So let's move now on the fifth example. So this particular example highlights the importance of multiple income streams. So there are workers who have different sets of benefits, no, or income. No? It also reflects the multitasking nature of some Filipino workers because they can do a lot of stuff now while they work. No? So especially it also highlights the skill of Filipinos, especially in technical services, because in here, Raquel is a appliance technician. So as you observe, space very low. So it's 650 for 22 days. That's why she really need to work more, no, to to have extra income. So for every aside from that, no, she overworked for 6 hours already, and she's being paid 30% increase for her hourly rate. Then she's also doing commission sailing per appliance aside from being a technician. So if she was able to repair four extra appliances for that month, so it means we are multiplying 4 to 500. So that's a 2,000 pesos commission if we will compute for that one. And then additionally, she also gets a monthly allowance of 1,500. So this appliance company is very generous. Okay. Aside from answering the total monthly income, we are also addressing the problem of the emergency fund, no, or the emergency savings of Raquel. So let's try to figure out how to solve the following problems. Let's have the regular wage. So we multiply it by 22. So that's 14,300. So that's the regular pay of Raquel. For the regular hourly rate, so we divide 650 by 8 so that we could get the hourly rate of Raquel. Why do we need to solve this one? Because we need to get the overtime pay rate. So to get that rate, we multiply this one by 1.3 because there is a 30% increase. And that is actually 105.63. But actually, it's 105.625 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so it's just rounded off here, but you really need to continuously multiply it by the overtime pay work. So look at this one. It's 105 pesos and 0.625 because every decimal counts when we compute for the overtime pay. Then we multiply it by 6 hours, so that's a total of 633 pesos and 75 centavos. So there is a difference when you use this one or when you use this one. So getting the overtime pay rate should be a continuous calculation using scientific calculator. For the commission, we multiply it by 4 because she repaired 4 extra appliances. And then we also have the meal allowance as an additional benefit. So let's add everything. The wage, the overtime pay, the commission, and the meal allowance. So we have a total of 18,433 and 75 centavos. Of course, we are also addressing another question in the problem. So for the emergency savings, we get 25% of that income, monthly income. So we have 0.25 times 18,000 plus. So that's a total of 4,608 and 44 centavos. So these are what we are answering. So as you could see, her 25% emergency savings is aligned with financial literacy goals of the Department of Education's financial education advocacy. So we that's why this is part of our lessons. Okay? Even in grade 7 and grade 8 lessons, they are they have lessons about this one, no? So about savings and financial literacy. So these are really applicable values that we need to advocate, especially when we talk about savings. Now, let us proceed from the perspective of a monthly salary from the annual salary. So, in this particular example, so always remember that teachers are governed by the Magna Carta for public school teachers, which entitles them fair wages, benefits, and leave. So, in this example, this is just a very simple problem, which includes savings again. So we also, aside from computing the monthly salary of Ma'am Anna, we are also computing the allotted savings for the month. So we have the annual salary, which is 384,000. Of course, what is our divisor? Because we are talking about annual, so very good. We will divide it by 12. So that's 32,000 monthly salary. So how do we get the savings? So we simply multiply. We get 30% of 32,000. So that's the multiplier is 0.3. And the answer is 9,600 pesos. So we have two statements here to answer the problem. So this particular example shows Ma'am Anna's saving habit, which also reflects the importance of financial planning for public servants who often budget for education, utilities, and emergencies. So not only Ma'am Anna, but also other people. No? They always give priority to the spending, but at the same time, a portion of their monthly income should be saved for emergencies and others. So let's proceed now to example number 2. So are you familiar with that? So many Filipino are technicians in manufacturing and production companies. So they rely on usually on overtime to augment their take-home pay because some have very low take-home pay. So the labor code protects their rights for proper compensation for extra work. Because in here, you would see that Joseph worked 12 hours of overtime. So, yet many are still unaware how to compute overtime pay. So, knowing this will also help our workers to verify if their pay slips or to verify if they understand their pay slips or they also understand their rights as well. So, in here, the monthly salary of Joseph is 20,000. Of course, he worked regularly for 8 hours a day. And the working days of Joseph for the month is 22 days. So let's compute the monthly income, including the overtime pay. So for the monthly salary, we have 20,000. This time, we will compute for the total number of hours incurred for 22 days. So we multiply 8 hours times 22. So that's a total of 176 hours. Because we need to divide 20,000 by 176 hours to get the hourly wage of or rate of Joseph. So to get the hourly rate, we have 113 pesos and 64 centavos. Again, this is not exact. No? This is just what is reflected, but in the calculator will give you decimals. Then we get 1.25. Continuously, we will multiply in the calculator. Remember that when we compute for the overtime, do not remove the other decimals. Okay? So that's 142 pesos and 5 centavos. And to get the total overtime pay, continuously multiply it. Do not remove it in the scientific calculator by 12 right away. So that will give you a total of 1,704 pesos and 55 centavos. So this is the overtime work of Joseph, no, for 12 hours of working, additional work, no? And then to get the entire pay, we have the base pay, which is 20,000 plus 1,700 plus. So we get a monthly pay of, or a wage of 21,704 and 55 centavos. Joseph's case show how skilled labor, when combined with overtime and accurate records, leads to fairer compensation. So everyone must really understand how to compute the overtime pay rate. Every decimal counts. That's why you should not remove them in the calculator. So all of these final answers reflected here are just estimates, okay? But there are, in when you encode this one in the Microsoft Excel, the other decimals are still considered. Okay? Now, let's talk about Sandy's success, about this, because you will see how insurance agents work hard. Okay, so in here, this is a high commission, no, for a freelance insurance agent. You see, it's a big commission. That's 10% for every policy that she sell, and she was able to sell 500,000 in total. Then a fixed monthly allowance of 5,000. So let's see how Sandy earns for the month. So first, the commission is 10%, so that's 0.1. This is our multiplier times 500,000. So this is very big commission, so that's 50,000. So for the total earnings, we add the fixed monthly allowance, that's 5,000. So that's a total of 55,000. So Sandy earns 55,000 for the month, no? I think this Sandy's success also reflects the value of hard work, confidence, and communication in high performance industry. So, being an insurance agent is considered a high performance industry. But there is also a negative side about this type of job. It's crucial that freelance or sales agent like her also manage their finances wisely, because there will be good months again for Sandy, and there will be not so good months for Sandy. So Sandy really needs to learn how to save here, because it's not always a good month for her, no, as a freelance insurance agent. I hope you understood our third example. Let's now proceed to example number 4. So Josh is a home-based simmer. So this is a face mask simmer, and let's see how a freelance hashtag online home-based worker also earns at home. So he's being paid 35 pesos per face mask. So 80 masks per day as he completed in 25 days in a month. So let's try to address two questions: the income, total monthly income, and how much does he save. So this is just basic multiplication. So that's 28 multiplied by 80 masks. Then we multiply it by 25 days. So that's a total of 70,000. For the savings is allotted for buying a new sewing machine. So this is, I think Josh is upgrading, no, his home base work, because he's trying to add new sewing machine. That's why he is allotting more on savings. Okay, so that's 28,000 for a new sewing machine. So maybe after 6 months, he would be able to buy a new machine. So Josh will be increasing more face mask production. So the monthly income of Josh is 70,000, and he saves 28,000 monthly. So Josh, is this particular example shows us that while income could be high, remember that this is an irregular job, okay? So this sector is might be growing in the Philippines, and proper savings like Josh are essential for sustainability. So it's not always that it's the era of face masks. Sometimes they will not be used anymore. No, people will not be buying face masks anymore. So maybe if it's pandemic, then Josh might have higher income than 70,000. So these are non-stable jobs. So Josh really need to save a lot. Let's move now to our fifth example. We have call center agents. So Arsen here has a monthly salary of 25,000, an extra commission 1,000, but on May he gets 5 sales. So we will multiply that one, so that's 5,000. Then he worked 10 hours, and then the pay is an increase of 30% for the hourly rate. He worked 22 days, and then he saves 20% for investment. So this is a lot of computation that we need to do. So this particular example shows how BPO workers like Arsen often receive competitive compensation packages. So because we could see a lot of extras, no, or benefits, okay, on the earnings or income of Arsen. So let's try to figure out how to solve this one. So we have to compute 22 days times 8. So that's a total of 176. So we divide the base salary of 25,000 by 126. So that's 142 pesos and 5 centavos. There's still decimals here. Don't forget, continuously solve it. Then we multiply it by 1.3. So that's 184 pesos. Again, there are decimals here. And there are also decimals here. Do not remove them on the calculator. Then we multiply it by 10. So that becomes 1,846 pesos and 59 centavos. For the commission, we multiply it by the 5 extra sales that Arsen worked for. So that's 5,000 commission. So we add everything, the wage, we have the overtime pay, and then we have the commission. So that's a total of 31,000 pesos. For the investment, so this is typographical, so this should be 59. Okay, so 31,000, we get 20% of this one. So that's a total of 6,369.32 or 32 centavos. Okay, so our Arsen's income is almost 32,000, while the investment is almost 6,300. Okay, so the challenge here is managing variable income smartly, because his decision to invest is part of his earnings, aligns with long-term wealth building. So this is an important mindset for all workers. Sabi nga nila, 'di ba, mindset ba mindset, no? So always so instead of saving it, Josh might be saving it in Bitcoins, in GCash, stocks, and so on. Or sometimes you may invest your money for jewelry or like gold. Okay, so there are different types of investment that you could put into, but don't go into investments such as investment scams. Okay, so be careful about that. So now it's your turn. Now, on your yellow pad paper, solve the following problems carefully. So you're going to do this at home. So try to solve these 10 problems at home, and for the next meeting on our face-to-face discussion, you will be answering this one with your Gen Math teacher. So did you learn something for today? So always remember that minimum wage is regional. So there's a different wage pay in Metro Manila compared here in Central Luzon. So know yours. Overtime pay must be at least 25%, okay? And commission are legal under the DOLE rules, no? But always also plan your savings, budget wisely. Respect all kinds of work, and every peso has a story. So every computation we make today reflects a worker's effort and survival. So as future professionals, dear learners, it is important that we understand not just math but human stories behind these numbers. The labor code of the Philippines protect workers' right, but financial literacy empowers them. So let us be part of the generation that values both. So I hope today's lesson helped you better understand how people earn their income and manage their finances. So remember, math isn't just numbers, it's like a life skill. So coming up, so we have lesson 1.1, our last part. Make sure to review your notes and practice, and see you on the next video lesson. Again, this is Sir Peter, your GenMath teacher. Bye!